Along with attributes are the values, as I said. Now, values are something which, again, are not only important for yourself, but as a leader, it's very important for you also to ensure that wherever you are, you create a culture and a climate which is value-based. Now, I'm sure you've been told what's the difference between a climate and culture. Climate is something which perhaps your university just started, and all members of the faculty, all members of the leadership are trying to create a climate. Climate which is conducive to the realization of the vision of this university. But culture would get created over years. Culture is formed over years. Perhaps it will take a decade or 5 years to form culture in this university. At the moment, it's a climate that is being created. It was just started in September last. It hasn't gone very far. So therefore, the endeavor has to be to create culture. And each one of you, each leader, has to ensure that the climate that you are creating adds and contributes to the strengthening of the culture which has been defined. And any organization, and I'm sure even your university would have done it, but I haven't seen it anywhere when I went around, must have values given out. There are institutional values, there are stated values, there are operating values. The university, when it talks about itself on the media, on the web page, it talks of stated values, the institutional values. But you, ladies and gentlemen, when you operate with your faculty members, when the faculty members operate with me and when they operate with a guy like me who's come from outside, are the operating values. I was talking of that with the members of the faculty before I came here. Those values are very important. Those values will tell you how to interface with each other, how to interact with each other. And let me tell you some of these values which I feel over almost 42 years of my commissioned service, which are important for any good leader to imbibe, and for any organization to have those as the bedrock for their growth. The first is integrity. Now, integrity is doing the right thing morally and legally. People call it discipline. If you have this in you, you will be a disciplined person in life. Discipline will take you places. But discipline hinges on integrity. If you are prepared to do what is right morally and legally, you will never go wrong. Small example I always give, you're trying to cross the road, you're coming at night, the road is open, very few vehicles, and you suddenly find the right from green turning red. The reckless impulse will tell you, jump the light. There's nobody around. But that discipline, that integrity will tell you, no, I must stop. So you stop, you wait for the light to turn green, and then you move on. It is doing the right thing when nobody is watching. This is something, and ladies and gentlemen, these values become habit when you live with these. And I'm sure the institution is going to define these values very soon on the walls, in your classrooms, wherever they are. The people read these, and they become good citizens, good leaders, not only the Indian leaders, but also global leaders of tomorrow. The second more important value is of loyalty. And loyalty has many prongs. Loyalty is to your institution, to your university, to your organization. Tomorrow you start your business, to your enterprise, to your organization wherever you are, to your seniors, to your juniors, to your peers, to your family, and above all, ladies and gentlemen, to yourself. You've got to be loyal to yourself. If you are not loyal to yourself, you shall not be able to ever improve. It's the loyalty towards yourself which will always spur you, nudge you, and goad you to improve yourself, to keep honing your skills. So that loyalty is very, very important. The next is respect. Treating people the way they are supposed to be treated. I was talking to the faculty members. I mean, you call somebody, a guest home, you know how that guest is to be treated. It's the value of respect. It's treating people the way they are supposed to be treated. You know how to treat your faculty members, your colleagues, your seniors, your juniors, ladies, elderly people. And this is something, remember that as you go along in life, wherever you are, whether in business or anywhere, if you remember this value of respect and are able to deal with the aspirations of every individual, treat them well, you will never have any problems. Problems always occur because of interpersonal relations. Relations when you don't respect a person the way he's supposed to be treated. If you begin to do this, trust me, as leader, you are supposed to be taking people along to achieve a mission, a goal. They will only follow you if this one very important criteria is met. The next is duty. Duty is fulfilling your obligations. Each one of us, as a student you have an obligation, as a son you got an obligation, as a daughter you got an obligation, as a wife, as a husband you got an obligation. You've got to fulfill those obligations in the correct perspective, in the desired manner, in the right earnest. I must tell you this, that other day at one of the corporate houses in Pune, I was asked a question by one young fellow leader. He said, sir, how do I manage my matrimonial alliance is going for a 6. I have aspiration ahead of me and I want to become something, but somehow I find it's on the rocks. My wife is no more happy with me. It's a strange marriage. I'm finding it difficult. What needs to be done? I must say a very pragmatic question. A question which today is highly contemporary. I'm aware of this. I know what the young lads are going through and the ladies are going through. But what I'm coming to is I talked of a balance firstly. And I talked of loyalty. Remember that you've got to also have loyalties to your family. You can't just in life say that I'm going to achieve my goals and leave my family alone. You've got to maintain that balance. And if you don't do that, you can never be happy. And unless you are happy, you can't happily achieve your ends. So this balance in life is very important. And I often quote, Bhagavad Gita in this regard, which says that when love and duty are one, then there will be grace in you. And you will enjoy a happiness that shall surpass all imaginations. It's absolutely true. If you can maintain a balance between love and your job, your work, you'll have no problems. Getting back onto the values, I just diverted to tell you that question that was asked. The next is your selfless service. It will take you places again. This is something which is going beyond the call of routine obligations. Selfless service is a higher purpose, a spirit of self-denial vis-a-vis your colleagues. Being able to walk 1 mile more vis-a-vis your colleagues for their happiness, for the happiness of the organization, for the welfare of the organization. But that spirit, if it is there in you, you shall be able to deliver and deliver in the right perspective. And last one, of course, is the moral courage. You've got to have spine, you've got to have the stomach, and you should be able to speak up for the right and stand against the wrong, even if you have to stand alone. This is very important attribute. And ladies and gentlemen, I will also encourage you when you grow in life. Remember one thing, your best friend should not be the person who's all the time cajoling you and getting into a glib talk of trying to tell you how good you are. Trust me, he or she is the most dangerous colleague of yours. Befriend a person who will criticize you. Befriend a person who will, through the body language, convey to you that he is not or she is not happy with what's going on. He's the best person to befriend. Because he or she is the person who will tell you how to move ahead in life. And that is only moral courage. Very few people have it. There's a tendency to just walk through, in life, mera kya jata hai, mera kya, chalta hai. That attitude should never be there. Was it, I'm glad there's some little bit of fun as well. Did you laugh or did you cough? I didn't know. But, getting back onto the subject, that with these values, and I talked of the attributes, are something you're going to inherit to form a good character. Along with, of course, your competence. That's very important. Competence, I'm sure, is being put into you right from now. This is a bedrock. This is a foundation where you are at the moment acquiring that foundation of your competence. And I'm a firm believer that your skills, they actually get into 4 knowledge domains. And these are technical domain, your tactical domain, your conceptual domain, and your interpersonal domain. Interpersonal is very important as a leader or wherever you are to succeed in life. Unless you're able to communicate what is in your mind to the people you want to communicate, you can't be a success in life. To be able to lead people, you should be able to communicate properly. And this also emphasizes the ability to listen. In the interpersonal skills, you must be a good listener as well. Because if you're not a good listener, you will never get to know where the shoe is pinching with regard to your organization. What are the problems being faced by your organization? You have to being absolutely sensitive to these requirements. Right. Now, getting onto your other interpersonal skills, in that you also have the teaching, of counseling, tutoring your people. There are large number, negotiations, for example. In life is all about negotiations. You're going to be confronted with situations. At times you will be negotiating for your business, at times for your organization, but you've got to go prepared. And that comes through the honing of your interpersonal skills. And ladies and gentlemen, the conceptual skills is something which will take you places in times to come. I mean, as you grow in life, as you grow in your profession, wherever you are, you start off with initial, fundamental skills, attributes, and as far as concept is concerned, this is the ultimate, which takes you into the strategic arena. It's the arena where you start discussing and analyzing ideas. It's the domain where you people develop the intellectual sophistication and maturity. It's the arena where you develop the frames of reference. And this is what enables you, because life is not going to be just black and white. Life is going to be gray zone, operating in gray zone, operating in VUCA. Volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity. In that arena, if you have good, robust, well thought out frames of reference, you should be able to deal with any situation. And therefore, conceptual skill is something which you should be always adding on to. It's a slow process, it's a very, very laborious process, but it's a very beautiful process because it's very interesting and I would say endearing process. You've got to work towards honing your conceptual skills. Your growth in life, where you stand tomorrow, your ability to deal with various situations is going to be totally governed by this ability with regard to your conceptual skills. And other things I talked of, your technical skills, these are fundamental skills to run your business. Technical skills, marketing strategy, other things. So you've got to look into these 4 domains. This is what I believe in, and I don't know whether your faculty is giving you these 4 domains or more than this, but then I always believe in questioning the status quo. I may not be talking what I'm talking as per your books, because in life, you've got to again question status quo. And ladies and gentlemen, remember, to grow in life, to be successful in life, you've got to remain relevant. And how do you remain relevant? You can only remain relevant if you lead change, if you manage change. Change is going to come about in life. Change is the only constant in the environment. Change will come. But as good leaders, you should be able to foresee, envision the future, see what kind of change is coming about, and how that change is going to impact on your enterprise, on your aspirations, on the realization of your mission, your vision. That relevance is very important. All along in life, you've got to remain relevant. It is also from the point of view of adapting yourself. You change your business, your job from one enterprise to the other, and you find the requirements are different. You've got to be relevant, you've got to adapt. Because if you don't remain relevant, you lose out. And this change, as I said earlier, one, you got to lead, because if you don't lead change, the change is going to lead you. And if the change leads you, you're going to be reactive. And if you're reactive, you're going to be virtually running from one situation to the other, firefighting, and will not be able to move ahead as per your planned strategy. But yes, in life, you cannot envision everything. So therefore, what you cannot envision, and what crops up as part of certain dynamics of the environment as a change, has got to be managed. So good leaders not only lead change, they also manage change. And one more thing because I think I've taken about 35-40 minutes, I'm going to get on to question answer session, is about the resources. Because what is strategy? When you talk of your dream being realized and converted or transformed into reality, ladies and gentlemen, you do it through a strategy, through a game plan. And strategy is an interplay between the ends, with, and the means. You want to achieve your ends, you know the means that you have with you, you've got to find ways to be able to achieve those ends. And these ways have got to be ethical ways, I say. You try and cut corners in life, you will never succeed. You might make initial gains by cutting corners, by adopting to unscrupulous means. Very interesting, the other day in one of the corporate houses, a different one, I was asked a question. Sir, we hear of a lot of guerrilla tactics in corporate sector. How can we use this in enterprise? And my answer was that guerrilla tactics, by the word, very name, is the wrong term to be ever used in business. Guerrilla tactics are used by an inferior adversary against a superior adversary. And this particular strategy deviates from the laid down norms, rules of engagement, and other rules which are laid down. So the moment you become unscrupulous in doing anything in life, you will never be able to achieve what you want to achieve in the right. You might cut corners, as I said earlier, be able to get ahead of your competitors for a short while. But remember one thing, wherever you are, you've got to be a lambi race ka ghoda. Or a ghodi. Sorry for the ladies. It's a long run, it's a marathon run, it's not 100-meter sprint. It's all endurance. And to achieve that, you've got to ensure that every step that you take towards the realization of your end state is scrupulously ratified, it's as per the ethics, it's as per the values, and then you move ahead. And of course, as good leaders, never forget that if you're going to take people along, people will only follow you if you are committed towards your people. You've got to empower your people. You've got to create a conducive environment which enables growth, cohesion, where people can express themselves freely. There is vertical, there is horizontal flow of communications. There is a spirit of creativity, innovation, and people are able to live as a team. This bonding only comes in if the leader is good, and you've got to walk the talk as well, ladies and gentlemen. These values are talked of, are not for the sake of just putting them onto the wall and onto your website. If you do not walk these values, you will not be able to be a good leader and take people along. So I have broadly given you, not in a very structured format, some of the very important nuggets, I would say, of my 42 years of commissioned service. I have led, as you know, from 30 people as a junior leader when I started commanding people, commanding brave tigers of the Indian Army, to commanding a 1.2 million strong army of tigers and tigresses. So a lot of experience. I have shared with you a lot of things. Remember these. I'm always available. In fact, on my slide, I was going to give you my Facebook ID, whatever it's called. Anyone who wants to be in touch with me, there are students from Symbiosis, some of them who are in touch. But if you ever wish to get in touch for any clarification, you're most welcome. But otherwise, do well. You've got excellent faculty members. I met all of them. They are simply outstanding. It's a very, very prestigious university that's coming up. You people are, take it from me, slated to be the finest on the earth, on the globe. Trust me. And have faith in yourself. Have faith in yourself. Every time you walk out of your room or dormitory, wherever you're staying, thank your parents, thank God for having sent you to this very beautiful university. And remember one thing, this university is going to make you tomorrow into a great leader, not only an Indian leader, but also a global leader. And I will put you in question.